Hello. I want to address the issue, this ongoing dispute in the FX-4CR community of this beautiful little radio that is being sold by BG2FX out of China. And I want to go over my experience with it and why I've come up with the conclusions that I've come up with. So first of all, what I want to do is set the foundation for it. I had started communicating with you back in mid-June, and finally on June 23rd, you acknowledged that he added my name to the list. So this is late June, before July. So then finally on October 6th, you told me that I had an FX4 ready for $558, and he wanted to know if I still wanted it, which I said yes. So by the 14th, I don't have a date on this, but nonetheless, somewhere shortly thereafter, he sent me an invoice, which I paid, and here is the receipt for that payment for $558 total. Here's the receipt of the delivery. I finally got delivery on October 14th. So in this interim between when he added me to the list on June 23rd, I had repeatedly asked him whether or what the status was and whether we could expect shipments, and he never responded to any of those questions. So somewhere around August or so, there was an embargo where you had shipped the first 100, had a whole bunch of quality problems, that he had to retool his test process and retrain his people to not make mistakes in integrating the radio together. During that time, I had really sort of gotten involved with AliExpress and saw that there were a lot of these FX4s for sale, FX-4CRs for sale. So long story short, well before I was notified that this radio was ready on October 6th, I had identified two sellers on AliExpress. One was Asian Ray, and after talking with him, I placed the order on August 20th. In the end, here's what I paid for it. He was originally at $492.20. Through the various discounts that AliExpress offers, I got a total of about $80 and $81, so $78.82, and another $327 bonus off, which brought the total with the tax to $444.56. If I take out the tax, because even on used product, if you're in a state that collects tax, then you're supposed to pay the tax. So whether you pay it or not, that's up to you. So in the end, without the tax, I ended up paying $410.11. There's sort of a long story here, which help educate me on what the situation was with used deliveries in China. So ultimately, I had the order in my hands on September 14th, which was about 25 days after I had placed the order. In the interim, there was another seller who had committed to having 4 units, and after Asian Ray told me these were available and that they weren't, there was a delay, and I'm sure that what happened was you wasn't ready to release the products to Chinese distribution at that point because he was still working out kinks in the manufacturing process. But on August 20th, I was told that these radios were available, which is why I placed the order. Then I realized that he didn't deliver within the 9 days that he was obligated to by AliExpress. So I had placed another order with LT Tools on September 2nd. So in that interim, between September 2nd and September 5th, and I think it was September 4th, Asian Ray sent me photos showing 8 units that he had just received. And he asked me if I wanted to still get this. So because LT Tools in total came out to, without the taxes, of $456.21 versus the $410.11, I told him I didn't want it on September 5th, and so he allowed me to cancel the order, which I did. So, but this guy had 4 of them, and I believe that he had 4 of them. Asian Ray showed me pictures on or about on or about the September 5th period where I canceled the September 4th. So I told him to ship it. So he still delayed a couple more days, but ultimately I got the radio on September 14th. So then going back to you, even though I really placed the order with him back in June, I finally got the order a full month later exactly from you. So here's what we received, what I received here. Here are the 2 boxes. So this box, and I crossed out my name because I don't want my address out there. So anyway, this box came from you. Here's the tracking number. This box came from AliExpress. The first thing to note is these boxes are identical. Even the tape and the lengths of the tape that were used to seal this box shut, in fact, are identical. If you look at the outside of the box, they're using the same exact staples, These boxes came off the identical production line, and this date sequence says that you released this product to the Chinese market before he reassumed shipping to the local market, to his retail customers. So inside the box, you have this other box. Again, here's the tape. Same tape as on the outer box with the standard Pelican case. And I don't have the microphones here. They're at home. I'm doing this at work. So anyway, here's the standard case. In it, I got the USB-C fuses and the spindly DC power cable, which I then used wire ties to hold those things together. So I put those on. All right. So anyway, here's the U box. Same tape, everything. Same production line. No dispute about that. And again, I trashed the other plastic bag, but same carbon copies because they came from the same line. I don't have the book here, but so again, same fuses, same cable, actually. Same exact part number. So if they're clones, they did a very good job of sourcing exactly the same hardware, same packaging, same ancillary equipment, and whatever. And so similarly, here's the cable that I didn't put. Here's the cable that I didn't even put the wire ties on. I haven't even taken it apart yet, actually. And of course, mine, I don't have it in here, but mine also had the wire wrap too, the Velcro wire wrap. So everything's the same. So now I have the 2 radios. And if we take a look at the 2 radios, you can see that these outer chassis are identical. Absolutely, unequivocally identical. Okay, and I took the liberty of taking the screws out just to facilitate. So there. The little fan, everything. Okay. One thing, note, there is no serial number on either of these units. So now I can't tell the difference between the radios, nor can you. So One apparently is titled to warranty service and the other one is not, but that's not exactly what you is saying. So anyway, let's take a look inside. So I'm gonna flip this around. Okay, this is the controller. Well, I'm sorry, I did a better job with this before. Okay, so the top board is the board which houses the speaker, the displays, the keys, and the encoders. Notice the serial number, notice the part number that is on the speaker, and also notice in there on the Kapton ribbon for the display or the keypad, not sure which it is. This is the same number as what'll be on the other machine. So in here, what you're seeing, a couple of key parts. You've got that twin board there, which contains the STM 32H7 family of Cortex M7 processors. It's got an additional chip for 4 gig of memory, and then there's the codec on the left-hand side. But one of the key tells of this, if you look at the 2 errors that are on the board, and whenever you find jumpers on a circuit board, they were usually put in after the original circuit board laid out, and they found that there was a defect in the circuitry that needed to be resolved. So if you look at those wires, it looks brown, but that's red and blue. Notice the relative lengths of them, etc. So also outside, if you notice that even the same plastic protector is on the windows. Mine, the little tab, I took it apart before on the display out, so that's sort of buried. So let's take a look at this inside. So identical construction, the same serial number. I'm sorry, I said that again. It's the same part number on the speakers. In here, hold on. You've got the same numbers exactly on the Kapton ribbon. You've got the same jumpers, same colors. So typically, if somebody cloned this, they would have cleaned up the circuitry because they would have to redo the boards anyway, and they would have cleaned that up just so they didn't have the extra labor of soldering. So the other part is, if you get in here, now you can see the amplifier board, and I haven't really gone over this one completely. So if you take a look at the amplifier board, essentially the toroids were wound by the same people. There's still another little red jumper in there that is after engineering cleaning up of because that's jumpering to another board. The same routing of the wires. So this is the amplifier board. So the conclusion is these 2 radios came off the same line. This is incontrovertible. Another incontrovertible fact is that you started to ship these to the Chinese distribution market at a lower price than he sold them for retail, or at a lower price than he sold them retail for, and quicker than what he shipped his retail customers. So the conclusion there is that the Chinese distribution channel took priority over retail sales, and in fact is his preferred method. So the other thing I didn't do is I left the other book at home, but the printing on the book is exactly the same too. It's exactly the same thing. So to support my conclusions, 1, you preferred to sell them to China because he in fact did that before he resumed retail sales. Secondly, for the original price of the Asian Ray to have hit the market at $492.20 before discounts, which they also have some obligation in the discounts that AliExpress gives too, and $520 Both of these are substantially below retail, indicating that there was wholesale pricing that was below retail, and that's normal to have wholesale pricing lower than retail. The other claim from you is that he doesn't know any end sellers, which that is quite possible that he does not know any end sellers, but that does not mean that he is not selling them into the Chinese distribution chain. So therefore, those sales are authorized by you because I have physical evidence that he sold at minimum 8 of these units into Asian Ray before he started shipping to his retail base, and verbally or in writing, LT Tools told me he got 4. So there's nothing more that can be said about that. So clearly we have debunked the existence of clones. If anybody has proof of a clone, I'd love to see it. But now you have 2 different different AliExpress buyers who are saying that these are not clones. I just disassembled the radios and have all the packaging, which demonstrates these came off the same production line. So this leaves basically 2 options or 2 possibilities. Number 1 is that you is selling directly to the Chinese chain, distribution chain, and therefore those sales are authorized because he's doing it in bulk. Number 2, the possibility is that the Chinese factory who did all this stuff and kitted this whole thing, whether it's Yu's factory, which is case 1, that he's the one shipping them, or an actual other radio factory put these things together and is peeling off units which he's selling either with or without Yu's permission into the Chinese market. This is unlikely because you justified his embargo by saying that his own people weren't under sufficient supervision when they were integrating all the components together, which one can imagine that you certainly did not do the wave soldering and the pick and place on the boards. He didn't populate the boards, so he bought the boards stuffed. And then it's quite possible that he has a group, doing the integration, which means putting the keypads on, the encoders, boxing, packaging, etc. But whoever did the packaging for both the AliExpress and the BG2FX shipments. This is indisputable. So then what this means is that if the second option, where the factory that built these things and packaged them was peeling off units to sell either with Yu's permission or in violation of Yu's IP, well, that's a possibility, but it means that Yu wasn't doing the final assembly. So you take your pick on which of those options you like. So I think I have just demonstrated unequivocally, without any possibility of this not being correct, that these came off the same production line. Picture, one option would be that the board stuffing house sold the populated boards to somebody else who then made all the ancillary hardware, the buttons, the speakers, these cables, the boxes, the printing. They copied exactly the procurement of all printed material, all boxing material, all ancillary hardware, and copied it exactly, and that's not possible. So that one is so. The only summary is that you sold these into both the retail chain and to the Chinese distribution chain. Whether he knew the end seller or not, they still hit some broker or some agent as his first line of contact, who then sold them. So what this also tells you, if there is a middleman in between BG2FX and Asian Ray or LT Tools, then that person marked up the radio as well. So it's possible that you were selling that radio as low as $200 off retail, which would be somewhere around maybe 550, 350 or so, which would allow these markups for the end seller and for the middleman. So that's it. I do love the radio. I do love Use Initiative. So I decided to keep his order in place just to support him with another sale. And I was genuinely curious to see if there was any truth about this, that there are clones of this radio. And my proof is no, they're identical, same production line. What else did I have in all this? So I absolutely love the radio, which is why I bought two of them. One of them kind of keeping in a pristine state, and that's the one directly from you. The other one I put in Daniel's F5BUD's firmware, and I'm trying to work with him on coming up with different noise reduction, noise reduction scheme that I can pop in there. So I'm kind of using the second radio as the test bed for all that stuff. So anyway, that's it. Bye-bye.